BARK Radio.
What's good, everybody? It's Robo from All Bark back with another video, and today I'm bringing you my college football Week 0 picks. We are finally back, kicking off the 2025 season. I've done countless hours of research and film study, going over rosters and depth charts, trying to evaluate every team as I can heading into this season. I also have some other stuff planned this year, including on the NFL side, so stay tuned for that on the channel. But let's go ahead and get into a little bit of a recap of the picks. The first two seasons of weekly picks on this channel have gone pretty well. I picked pretty much every game on the slate, both straight up and against the spread, and we're firmly in the positive through 2 years. And I'm hoping to improve that even further this year, obviously, starting right now with Week 0. Kicking off the 2025 season is an in-conference rivalry matchup, the Farmageddon with Iowa State and Kansas State from Dublin, Ireland. And I think this game's going to tell us a lot about these two teams' potential this season. For Iowa State, there's so much production lost in the receiver room with Higgins and Noel in the NFL. So we'll have to see if East Carolina transfer Chase Sowell can replace some of that production and who steps up alongside him. Benjamin Brahmer and Gabe Burkle are a great tight end duo, and most of the offensive line returns, but that unit was pretty terrible last year for the Cyclones, finishing towards the bottom in both pass and run blocking efficiency. Defensively, Iowa State was not great against the run or in the pass rush a season ago, but the secondary with Jontez Williams and Jeremiah Cooper should be pretty solid again. Over to Kansas State, Avery Johnson returns after a decent first year as starter. And I think an edge K-State has in this game is in the skill positions. Dylan Edwards is a stud running back, and Jace Brown's the best receiver on either team. I'm a Jaron Tibbs fan as well, and the offensive line to me is just a bit stronger than Iowa State's. Looking at the defense, the front seven looks a lot better to me, especially at linebacker with Austin Romaine and Desmond Purnell. The secondary is lacking a bit, but I still favor K-State overall. It may come down to protecting the ball a lot better than they did last year in this game, but I'm going to go with K-State here by a touchdown, 31-24. Next is an FBS-FCS matchup with new-look UNLV taking on Idaho State. It'll be Dan Mullen's UNLV debut after Barry Odom left for Purdue, and this team is basically brand new through the portal. But talent-wise, it looks genuinely solid. They're preseason ranked number 2 in the Mountain West by the media behind Boise State despite all the attrition and newcomers. To start the year, they're going to be running a 2-quarterback system with Virginia transfer Anthony Calandria and Michigan transfer Alex Orji. But I feel like it's going to be similar to how Michigan used Orji, mainly as a rushing threat, and Calandria is going to be the passer. The rest of the offense has a lot of potential too, with JoJo Earle, Troy Omier, and Varquise Gums all coming from Power 5 programs and projected to be having a role in this offense. And then last year's leading rusher, Jaden Thomas, returns to lead the backfield there. Defensively, I don't love him honestly. I think the secondary is solid, and the linebacker room is fairly deep, but I'm a bit worried about the D-line this season for UNLV. It shouldn't matter much in this game, though, with the talent gap, but I definitely think Idaho State could find ways to score at least a couple times. But the talent gap is still wide enough for me that anything less than a 3-4 score win would probably be pretty disappointing for the Rebels, which leads me to pick a final score of 48-17. Kansas is finally back in their own stadium this year and looks to avenge last season's horrific start here Week 1 against a solid Group of 5 opponent in Fresno State, who has to replace a ton of production lost in the offseason, including starting quarterback Mikey Keene. Rice transfer E.J. Warner comes in with some solid experience and ability though, but his work may be cut out for him as his weapons are pretty inexperienced. I'd expect Fresno State to go running back by committee with Donaldson leading the way over Luke and Gilliam, but the receiver room doesn't return much production at all, and the offensive line lost a few starters. Defensively, I think Fresno has a lot of work to do, but Corey Foreman can be a game-changing edge rusher in the Mountain West this season. Over to Kansas, Jalen Daniels had an awful year last year with a ton of turnovers, which was not expected considering how well he played previously. And I am a bit worried about it continuing this year, considering Kansas's receiving threats are all brand new small school transfers. I do think his mobility will play a factor in this game though, and the rushing attack should be solid again with Highshaw breaking out. But Kansas's defense wasn't great a year ago and actually lost a lot to the NFL, so I definitely think Fresno has a chance in this game, honestly. But I think Kansas gets ready enough to take it by at least a score. I'll go 30-20 for a final. Moving over to a Conference USA matchup, we've got Sam Houston at Western Kentucky. Both of these teams were absolutely destroyed by the transfer portal this offseason. Sam Houston having it worse though, and I think Western Kentucky did a much better job of replacing their talent with additions. With so much being new, it's hard to predict how each team will play, but I really do like Maverick McIver coming over from Abilene Christian as the starting quarterback for the Hilltoppers. We saw fire out of Hunter Watson last year for Sam Houston, but I just don't think he's as talented as McIver, honestly. He's got really solid weapons, though, with Quavez Humphreys back and one of the best running back rooms in the entire group of 5, with Shane Porter, Elijah Green, and Alton McCaskill. Western Kentucky has a stud receiver room, though, with Matthew Henry, K.D. Hutchinson, Jarius Mack, and Cody Epps. And defensively, I give a pretty heavy advantage to Western Kentucky as well. I like the secondary a lot, and I have a lot of worries about Sam Houston's entire unit this season. As I said, with so much turnover on both sides, things can play out differently. But from a roster standpoint, I think the Hilltoppers are clearly a better squad, so I don't mind laying the 10 points at all here. I'm going to go with a 34-20 final. The final game of Week 0 is Stanford heading out to Hawaii as slight underdogs, and honestly, I can understand why, as I really liked Hawaii as a potential sleeper in the Mountain West this season. I like Micah Alejado as a young potential star at quarterback, and the wide receiver room might be the best in all of the group of 5. But other than that, I still think this team has a lot to be desired. And although Stanford is likely one of the worst teams in the Power 5 again this season, I think from a talent standpoint, they may still be the better group. Stanford recently announced Ben Gulbranson will be the starter for this game, and truth be told, he's not really a quality quarterback, but he is pretty experienced as a backup, and his age could be a factor in them being able to pull out a road upset. In terms of game flow, I'd expect Stanford to play pretty slowly and try to run the ball and be efficient and take advantage of their drives, as it's without a doubt a losable game for them. This is definitely going to be a lean pick for me rather than a smash pick, but I'm going to roll with Stanford getting it done on the ground because of advantages in the trenches, but a really close finish overall, 27-24. That's it for my Week 0 picks. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below or any ideas you have for content on the channel in the future. As always, thanks for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
BARK Radio.